Hi, welcome. On this video series, because I'm going to be doing several parts, I'm going to be helping dog owners and trainers navigate the relational roadmap. I'm going to be talking about, several dynamics that are in play that at times can make it seem very confusing for people, because again, based off just appearances and in how mainstream dog training has been set up. Okay, what's been kind of like the norm for many years. It really kind of almost like crystallizes people's thinking. I mean, it's like even when I talk about balanced trainers, everyone's kind of drinking out of the same contaminated well. So I'm going to be helping in this series of videos, helping people make sense of this, because again, there is a formula. Okay, there's a tangible methodology that can be employed to make sure that relational change absolutely happens with dogs. I want people to understand that. So there's always hope, and that's the good news about this. No matter what the situation is with your dog, if you've cycled through a bunch of other training systems, and people have really and you think that there's no you can't get your dog back or whatever, there's good news. I mean that absolutely you can, because this system really is just like a new day. I mean, because that's what nature is. I want people to understand that nature is all about new beginnings. And so this system is about that, because it's all about changing how people think. Dogs move forward, and it's about helping people move forward. So the great news is, again, the system is totally, this is, like I said, this is an original source system. So this is totally developed from that level of insight into dogs at that level, as the relational animals that they are. But again, I'm gonna talk about some dynamics here in these series of videos, because I've gotten requests from people to give them more information to help them navigate and understand, because there's depth. I mean, there is depth to this, and it requires some stepping back, and really to be able to see the human's role fully, to see the part that the human plays when it comes to moving the relationship forward. But one of the things I really understand here is, I'll get into this thing about response and appearances, is that you cannot simply trust what you see. When dogs are responding and they're moving around, you have to be able to put it in context. You have to be able to expose the true motives of the dog, and then establish that based on what's been established in the relationship. So one thing to understand, it really, really matters a lot about how you approach training, the methodology that speaks the language of change right out of the starting gate. So anything that goes outside of that, this is why I talk about so-called balance training, working off quadrants, and then people saying, well, we're going to work all four quadrants instead of two quadrants, and all those different things. That still doesn't get you there. I want people to understand that that's still a problem with how change sets up relationally. That's still going to be a problem for many people. And one of the big problems here, I want people to get this, is that based off, again, the appearance of things, off of response, it's so difficult. If you don't get a sense of this, if you don't really aren't able to engage or employ the type of methodology that's going to let you see what's real and what's not, then you can be totally deceived. So, for example, in a group of, say, 30 dog owners that are setting this picture up, or are incentivizing the dog to go through different positions, half the class could be sinking. Okay, could be the motors could continue to be going sideways on these dogs, and the owners and the trainers aren't going to have a sense of it. Okay, they won't know, and that's very common. I want people to understand that happens a lot, and and then you're trying to line it up. Then you go home, back to the real world and discover, man, this is not, I'm still dealing with behavior problems. This is not lining up. Well, it's because the approach didn't line up. Okay, it was not based off of approaching it the way it needs to be approached out of the starting gate as a relational changing process. Again, I want to be clear, training is not a learning based exercise. And if you approach it that way, you start to, have this idea about teaching. And so anytime you hear these words, just understand from trainers about teaching or learning, you're involved in a type of learning process. Just really be discerning. I'd encourage you to be discerning with the words that trainers use. And here's part of the other problem is that because, like I said, this is the original source system, so you're not going to find probably a lot of trainers out there not at some level engaging in that type of process. I'll be honest. You're not going to find it. Because that's been the way that training's been done for probably 30 plus years. And I'll talk about again why these kind of intersect points with why things have gotten to the level that they've gotten with the struggles that dog owners are having. I'll talk about that on some other videos, but so there's several kind of intersecting points here, relational intersect points with based off of how people think, and what this ideology, the reason it's kind of escalated up and become more of a problem. That's been based off a culture of thinking, how people's attitudes have changed over a period of time. And I wrote about this in one of my books called The Mind and Body Connection. I sourced that out because here's the thing: everything flows into everything else. If you think one way about something, you're going to think similar ways about something else. It's all about how we think, truly. But again, getting back to this issue about getting a sense of, what's happening at the appearance level. It's so critical that right at the starting gate that you engage the process rightly. It's about right relationship. It's about the methodology is the language, and it has to speak the right language. This is why I get so focused in on the method. The method has to be, it has to go down a certain way. If it veers off certain ways, what it does is it will affect the outcome, and not just that, it can affect or put owners at risk when you get into these issues of dogs that are holding a lot of control, a lot of power. People can get bitten. So the integrity of the method itself has to really hold true. It's got to go down a certain way. This is why, again, I just started a trainer's course, even line this up with the association. It has to go down a certain way. It's not just about being picky to be picky. It's about me knowing what I know, and people are promoting certain things a certain way. It needs to happen a certain way. Otherwise, if bad things happen, guess what? I look at that and say, I hold myself responsible. Say, man, this person had an idea about the relational system or whatever. But that's in person. You need in-person training. That's something that I encourage anyone watching this that have gotten my books and watched my videos. That'll get you so far, and depending on how people think and your experience, it could get you further than someone else. But it's so important. There's so much going on that you really need to be one-on-one with me. It's relational. Just like I said, it's so much. When I'm doing stuff with people, there's like 20 things going on at the same time. I'm focusing in on, I'm prioritizing those things. It's developmental. I'm building people's skill set, but it's really, because here's the thing: there's how we think things are happening, and there's what's really happening. Okay, we can be very bad at assessing our own what's happening, and to have someone from the outside or someone looking on has a different perspective, and that's critical, especially when you're learning this system, because this is not a balanced system that way, where just anything kind of you can incorporate certain things into it, and I'll talk about that, the reasons for that, on some other videos. So anyway, this is part one. I'll get more into I do these other parts just to get real simple here, just to help people understand the importance of certain things and understand, move people beyond appearances. So thanks for watching.